Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. In today's video, we're going to see how we can utilize the ChatGPT to analyze a multiple responses. Sometimes if you administer a questionnaire, some of the question will warrant the respondents to choose from more than one of the options provided. Like for instance, let's say this is a question that try to ask the Nigerians on their additional source of income in order to cope with the high cost of living. So among the options provided are small scale trading, farming, online jobs, rental income, transport services. So the respondent is expected to choose one or more than one from this particular responses given. So let's assume these are the respondents' responses, whereby we have the gender of the respondents, which one represent male and two represent females. So here we have the 1 and 0. So if a person tick an option, will represent that using 1, and if a person have not chosen any of the options, so we use 0 for that. Like for instance, let's say this is the respondent 1, which is a male. He has chosen option 1, 2, 4, and 5. So under option 1, I will now use 1 to indicate that it has been selected. Under the option 2, I will equally use 1 to indicate that it has been selected. Under the option 3, which is the online job, it has not been selected, so I will now use 0. So under the option 4, which is the rental, it has been selected, I will now use 1. And under option 5, it has been selected, I will also use 1. So it continues like that. So first of all, I will try to use the SPSS so that we can now see the process and how lengthy the process is. Then we'll now also utilize the ChatGPT to obtain the same outcome to see which one is easier and simpler to use. So what I will do, I will come to this SPSS, and first of all, you need to create your the variables. So here we set for each of the option we will allocate 0 if the option is not selected, then we'll allocate 1 if the option is selected. So let me just clear this gender and demonstrate how it is being done in order to refresh our memory. So let's say this is the gender. So under the gender, I will use 1 for male. Then I will now use 2 for so I can now say okay. So I can change the this into to nominal. So these are the data. So I will let me just select all the okay. Let me just select all the data. I will just delete them. So I will now come back to this my responses. I will highlight or I will select all the data, then I will now copy. So I will now paste them here. So these are my information. So here I can use the normal descriptive statistic using the frequency table to get most of these informations. But however, I will have a kind of a multiple tables to deal with. So the table will be too many. So I need to combine all of these options using a single table. And to do that, I have to use the multiple response option, whereby I need to define the variable set. Let me select all of this. Let me take them here. So let me remove this. Okay, first of all, I need to select all these options excluding the gender. So because in the questionnaire you can see here these are the 5 options, so I need to select them all. So I need to identify, or I will need to give a number that if an option is selected, we said we will use one. So I need to give the name of the option here. I don't need to put any or to give any space between the wordings. Let's say source of income. So here I can now write it properly what I want. So let me say secondary source of income. So I will now add. So I'll close. So I can now go back to analyze. So I can now use the frequency under the multiple responses. So I can choose this source and I will now say OK. So you see now it has combined all the options in a single table, unlike the first scenario whereby we got multiple tables representing each of these options. So here what this basically means, these are the frequency, the number of the count. Each of the option is being selected and this is the total number of the selections. So here we have the percentage, which is uh, the selection of each all over the total. Like this one, for the first one, you divide the 10 by the 47 multiplied by 100, that will give you the percentage. Then we have the percentage cases, the total entry, the number of the respondents, they were 25 in number, but they have tick multiple options. So that is why we have a total uh, 47 responses. So here to get the percentage cases, you divide the 10 by the actual number of the respondents and you multiply that by 100. So that will give us this. So you can see here you need to follow some steps before you can be able to come up with this. So let's see what the ChatGPT will give us with regard to this. So let me just copy here. So let me just copy. I'll come to the ChatGPT. I can now say create a frequency table, with percentage, and percentage cases. Let's say for these multiple responses. So I will just paste that particular information I copied from the Microsoft Excel. So I will now ask the ChatGPT to do that. Let's see what it will give us. So you see it has already given you that particular frequency table. You see everything is correct. So let's just cross check and see. You see here we have 21, 40, then the last one 12, 24. So here you have 21, 40, then 12, 24. So you see this is somehow simpler than using the SPSS, and at the end of the day you will going to have a kind of the same output. Okay, like now in the SPSS, if I want to segregate these particular responses based on gender, so I have to use the cross tab. So I will come to the analyze again, then come to the multiple responses. Then I will now use the cross tab. So under here, I have to check this, which is the multiple response set that I have created. I will take it to the row column. Then I will take the gender to this particular column. Okay, let me remove this. So I will take the gender to this particular column. So I have to define the gender. So here I will use one for male, then I will use two for female. So I will now say continue. So I can now say okay. So you see now it has already given me the count based on the gender of the respondent. Basically, we have many ways of analyzing these multiple responses. One, you can use the cross tab, which is the one we have just did. You can use the row count, then you can use the percentages, which is the first one we have used. So let's see whether the ChatGPT can also give us a similar information like this. So let me just copy everything with regard to this. So let me say copy, and then I will ask the ChatGPT to create a uh, a cross tab frequency table. Okay, let me say create a cross tab frequency frequency table. Let's say for this. Okay, cross tab. Okay, I will paste the information. So what is wrong with the cross tab? Okay, I think is the so let me see what the ChatGPT will give me. So you see it has given us this thing like okay with small scale. Let me see whether this is correct or not. The small scale count I have 6 and 4, and ChatGPT is giving me okay. Maybe I need to specify something to it. So let's say for the gender, let's say for the gender, one is for male and two is for let's say is for female. Then let's say for the options, one indicates selection, and let's say zero indicates that the option is not selected. So let's say recreate recreate the cross tab table. Okay, these are some. So let's see. You need to clearly state what you need for the ChatGPT to give you the proper output. It is not giving me the correct information. Okay. Okay, the information, even the first one I think is correct. It is giving me a column of those that are not that the option that okay, this is the one I'm looking for. So you see for the small scale, the selected is 6 for male, and the not selected and the selected for female is 4. So which is the same with this. So the small scale is 6 and 4. Then the priming is 2 and 7. And the priming is 2 and 7. So it's correct actually. Initially, it has given me the frequency of the of those that of the option not selected and the frequency of the option selected. So it has matched the two together. So you see, this is how to use the ChatGPT to carry out the choice multiple choice analysis. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.